If you hood educated, I'm glad you made it. Allow me to unfold my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from a hood brother's point of view to all of you here, there, and everywhere. Now check me out. Now, I know a lot of people got a problem with brother Brandon Tatum. But, that's my brother. I had to hear that brother out. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I was just like, oh, y'all, yo, raccoon, he this, he that. And then one day I was walking down the street. I fell, I bumped my head. And when I got back up, I was like, Brandon Tatum is right. We need to hear that brother out. Check it out.
And I don't need to justify anything or explain nothing to nobody. But I just, if I was watching B. Tatum, I would love to hear B. Tatum talk about these things. So here I go. People say, and not most people, because most people are rational and normal. It's people who are insecure and undeveloped maturity, grown babies that are upset about B. Tatum and what I say. And so some of those people happen to be black. Let me just be very clear. I think everybody knows this. I love black people. I love all people. I love excellence. I love people who handle adversity and they take it by the neck and they deal with it and they become great. I love those people. I hire those people. I support those people. I've mentored those people, and they have not always been white. And I think that what we're finding here is that some people refuse to accept accountability. I don't understand how you can look in the mirror or you can study history, whether you black, white, Mexican, what you name it, and you don't go look back at your ancestry and you don't appreciate the opportunity that you have today and you don't take advantage of it and not walk around and be a victim all day.
I cannot agree more. I love black people, just like the brother Tatum. And not only that, though, like he said, how can you not, look at your ancestry and get some strength and get that spirit of the ancestors in you and just take life by the throat and just take advantage of it. You understand what I'm saying? I got to agree with him, because I get to thinking about my ancestors, I get to thinking about people like Rosa Parks, you know what I'm saying? A sister that got on the bus, and told the white man, hey, I ain't going nowhere. The white man told her, hey, get in the back of the bus. And that sister said, no, I ain't going in the back of the bus. Now, today, if a sister stood up for herself, it'd be the angry black woman. Why she had to act like that? Why she ain't just get up and get in the back of the bus, right? So I look at situations like that, where a sister is standing up for herself. But Tatum, what do you think about Rosa Parks? Do you have that same sentiment that you are demonstrating right now today? Pulling that strength from your ancestors? Or when you get in a crowd full of European people, your whole concept change about your ancestors? Check it out.
This also this idea when you think about Rosa Parks and what she did, and everybody thinks she's so heroic. And I used to appreciate what she did and others did until I started researching and finding out the truth. Do you know Rosa Parks and them had a car? Why did they stage that incident instead of it being a genuine incident where white people were discriminated against blacks? They staged it.
Hey, that's my cut right there. That's my new joint. You understand what I'm saying? You gotta look at the coons. Dun, dun, dun. Hey, come on. Man, we ain't gotta be serious all the time, y'all. We can have a little fun now. Come on now. Now, let's think about this now, because he actually did say that out his mouth about Rosa Parks and others, right? But now, he's to I just think about my ancestors and, the spirit and, the ancestors grab it by the neck. Now, one of the ancestors, Rosa Parks, she staged it, right? You understand? She had a car. Now, look, to me, that right there gives the whole demonstration more power. Because here it is, she had a car. She didn't have to get on the bus and sit in the front seat and say, hey, man, check this out, man. Hey, I ain't going nowhere, But she did. You understand what I'm saying? And, as far as, them staging it or whatever the case may be, look, the story is inspirational, right? This story right here of Rosa Parks gave black people courage. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes you got to do stuff like that. Sometimes you got to take a step forward to make other people take a step forward. You see what I'm saying? Now, whether it's a stage or whether however it went or whatever the case may be, she joined up courage in the black community and had people saying, hey, man, I'm not getting in the back of the bus. I'm sitting in the front. I paid my money just like you paid your money. I'm sitting right here. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm talking about, man, that movement right there tore the whole bus system down because black people stopped riding and say, hey, man, you know what? Y'all want to do that? Then we're gonna protest. We ain't riding no more. Then the bus company say, wait a minute, we need them black dollars. Hold on now. But y'all can sit where y'all want to sit. Just put y'all money in that thing. You see? But he got a problem with that, though. He can't see the value in something like that. But then, he carried on, right? So we gonna break this whole demonstration down, y'all. And we gonna come at him with the truth, and hopefully, we can get a better understanding about our brother, Officer Brandon Tatum. Check it out.
The interesting thing is that there's a lot of successful black people whom I love and I appreciate. But the crazy thing is the mainstream black community hate these people. Why are most black people, if you could ask them today, what do you think about Ben Carson? Like I feel like, to honest to God truth, I feel like most young people have no idea who Ben Carson is. They have no idea. He's only one of the greatest men to ever live. One of the greatest Christian men without fault publicly. And he gets no love from the same people that say, I'm a sellout.
Brother Ben Carson. Now, I know a lot of people probably don't know who Ben Carson is, but let me try to bring back to your remembrance. Do y'all remember back in 2016, there was a brother running for the president of the United States? That's Ben Carson, right? And truth be told, though, during his time running through the presidency, at first he was doing his thing. But then when Donald Trump came into the picture, they said, nah, hell no. No, you ain't talking the language that Donald Trump is talking about. You see what I'm saying? And he conceded, and got up under Donald Trump. He said in his closing speech or his conceding speech, he said that, people loved him, but when Donald Trump came, people stopped voting for him, right? And so, he kicked back. Donald Trump won. And after that, you know what the position that Donald Trump gave him? A hood. Put him in charge of the housing urban authority, right? And when I seen that, to me, that right there was almost calling him a house nigga. That's just my portion of understanding. You know what I'm saying? Because there's all type of cabinet positions that are open. And this man right here is one of the top surgeons in the United States of America. This brother is raw with the surgical. I'm talking about doing brain surgery on children, raw. And Trump said, no, I'm going to put you in there. You take care of the house. Your house nigga. You understand what I'm saying? But, even that, he still was in the White House and things like that. But I believe that the reason why people, especially African Americans, should know about Ben Carson, because the things that he have done in the medical industry, it should give a lot of young brothers a lot of young sisters who are in the medical industry some hope. In 1987, Ben Carson led a 70-member surgical team in the first successful separation of twins joined at the back of the head. This is Ben Carson, y'all. He demonstrated that. But not only that, though. At the age of 33 years old, he became the director of pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins Hospital, making him the youngest. I'm talking about, listen, y'all, 33. Making him the youngest in U.S. history to ever hold a title like that. But not only that, though, this brother was cold with his hands. If they needed a doctor, right? This how cold he was with his hands and with the surgery. If they needed a doctor to remove pieces of the brain, right? I'm talking about surgically move pieces of the brain without damaging anything or causing problems to the body, they called him. He revitalized that type of procedure. He was cold at that, right? So I believe that brothers and sisters should know about his medical history and what he has contributed to the world of medicine.
It stands out that you are most proud of?
Well, there are a lot of cases that will always stand out in my mind, but one was a young man who had Van Hippel-Lindau syndrome. They developed these vascular tumors in the brain, and he happened to develop one right in the middle of his brainstem, which is considered an inoperable area. So none of the adult neurosurgeons would touch him with a 10-foot pole. And unfortunately for me, his wife was a pediatric neurosurgery nurse, and all my patients were on her floor, and I couldn't escape her. And she said, "You're going to have to operate on my husband." And I said, "But I'm a pediatric neurosurgeon." And she says, "He acts like a child." And she just kept after me until I finally submitted. And I said, "I'll go talk to him." And I said, "Craig, if I take you to the operating room, there's at least a 50-50 chance that you will not come back alive." And he said, "Doc, if you don't take me, there's a 100% chance I'm going to die. So I'll take 50-50 anytime." And it was a difficult operation, but I was taking the tumor out, and the anesthesiologist announced that all the evoked potentials went flat, all the electrical signals. He said, "I told you you were going to kill him, but he was very much against the operation." I got it out, and none of the evoked potentials came back, and he was on full life support, taken to the ICU. His wife and I prayed. I went home. The next morning when I came back, he was extubated, sitting up in the bed telling jokes.
Wow. Praise God for that.
So, there are some things, that there's another force at work.
So now I believe that brothers and sisters should know about Dr. Ben Carson. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't believe that brothers and sisters hate him, as Officer Tatum said. I don't believe that people hate him. I believe that people dislike his political stance and some of the things that the brother has came out and said. Now, and I would have to agree that, his political stance, I can't agree with it. And some of the things that he has shared with the public, I can't agree with. And one of those things is this right here, y'all. This brother has came out and said that he doesn't believe in institutional racism, right? And not only that, though, he said that he is waiting on the evidence to show that there is racism in law enforcement. And I would have to disagree with that, not just because I don't like what he said out his mouth, but there is scientific proof. There is studies that has proven that there is institutional racism in America, right? And there is, racism when it comes to policing and law enforcement in America. As an example, right? from our understanding, we're 13 to 14% of the population in the United States of America. However, we make up 50% of the exonerations, the wrongfully convicted in the United States of America. Now, don't nobody want to talk about that number right there. That right there just shows you that something is wrong. It ain't got nothing to do with, because some people might say, well, stop committing crimes. These 50% that I'm talking about didn't commit the crime. But they was arrested, they was prosecuted, they was taken to trial, and they was sent to prison for something that they didn't even do. 50% out of all the races in the United States of America. So, like I said before, I'm not saying that just because I don't like what the scientific proof is proving this stuff right here. Y'all see what I'm saying? But not only that though, because he said some other things out of his mouth that I don't agree with. Not just because of how I feel, but because of the proof, the science that backs up what I feel and what I know.
That these knuckle dragging activists were not telling the truth, and they're not being honest. They're literally pushing an agenda to make money and get a GoFundMe as high as they can, then they go into the next city. I was able to talk to the boys that were involved that have been accused. I was able to get a ton of information. I was able to see evidence to debunk almost everything that these knuckle draggers were pushing, especially Al Sharpton and the other bald-head idiot. And to me, I think people owe these boys an apology. It's very sad and unfortunate what happened to Nolan Wells. I don't know if there was something that was foul play that happened to Nolan Wells. What I do know after interviews, talking to people, and looking at evidence that the boys that they've accused, claiming that they're racist white people, that they took him out in the middle of an abandoned island and killed him, they didn't have nothing to do with it.
How do you know that, Officer Brandon Tatum? How do you know that them boys ain't have nothing to do with it? How? How do you know that? Because you sat down and spoke with them? That's all you need? And just because somebody sat in front of you and said, man, we didn't have nothing to do with it, man. We love Nolan and all that. That means that they didn't have nothing to do with it in your eyes. And you a police officer, or excuse me, you an ex-police officer. And you mean to tell me you ain't never been lied to by criminals? You ain't never been lied to by someone that committed a crime? Just because they sit in your face and man, no, I didn't. Never? And you an ex-police officer? So how do you know they didn't do anything? I don't know if they did anything. You don't know if they did anything. But one thing you do know, according to what you saying now, is that they ain't do it. But you don't know that. You don't have no actual factual proof, no scientific proof. All you got is somebody's word. That's it. And I guess being that it's coming from 4 white boys, hey, you know what? Hey, they didn't do it. Good old white peoples, man. They ain't never did nothing bad in their life. But let it have been some black brothers sitting in front of you. I don't know, man. Oh, man. Now, he said he ain't do it, but, Junebug got a history, man. Junebug like the, I don't know, bruh. You see, you suspicious of your own people, but then when somebody else sit in front of you, you just take their word at face value. And you putting it all on the line and saying that these boys ain't have nothing to do with it, when you actually don't even know that to be true. Now, the second thing that you said that struck me was that you called 2 brothers knuckle draggers. When I heard that, it was almost like I understood that you was that type of brother, but I didn't understood. You know what? No, I did. Let me quit lying. I didn't. When I heard the knuckle dragging thing, yo, I'm not gonna lie. Like that right there, to call a black man, to insinuate that a black man is a monkey, right? The same way how monkeys and chimpanzees drag their knuckles on the ground and stuff like that, gorillas. And you referring to them brothers like that? in front of your all-white audience, distasteful, bruh. Distasteful. And you gotta know that if you don't know nothing else, because you've been probably called a knuckle dragger before. You understand what I'm saying? If y'all don't believe me, go look up the word knuckle dragging and a knuckle dragger and see if it's a racial slur towards African American people. Look it up. And it's going to tell you. It's going to render you a favorable reply, and it's going to say, yeah. And it's going to associate black people with the monkey that drag his knuckles, the gorilla, the chimpanzee, the orangutan. And for you to identify them brothers like that, I have never heard you call a white person a knuckle dragger, ever. But you refer to the brothers like that. Why? Because you want to satisfy your all-white racist audience. That's why. And you wrong for that, bruh. You wrong for that. Why you talking about these boys need an apology for what? Why they need an apology? For being suspicious? They haven't even been proven innocent yet. Oh wait, according to you, they have. But according to us, no. We need actual facts. We need some exoneration. You see? But to you, no, you don't need all that. You just need their word. And that's good and dandy for you. Cold-blooded demonstration. As you can see, that is a picture of championship basketball player Draymond Green. And the white guy you see is a Memphis meteorologist for the channel Fox 13 News down there in Memphis. This is what he said, and this is what got him fired from his job. And chew on this. Draymond runs his knuckle-dragging open mouth all game long, but mild-mannered Kyle Anderson disputes one call and gets ejected. Next level jackassery. So as y'all can see, you know, he played to his audience. You understand what I'm saying? He know exactly what he's saying when he says stuff like that. There's no way in the hell, especially in the United States of America, that a person that is not black or a person that is black cannot associate a brother with a primate. Why? Because that has been a slur to us since the beginning, since we've been here. You see? So for him to say something like that, it just tells me a lot about him. But there's a part about Officer Brandon Tatum that a lot of people probably don't know about, right? Now, I'm going to share this with y'all, but y'all got to keep this on the low. Because, you know, I ain't never seen Brandon Tatum demonstrate like this. But, you know, he got a little bit of that in him. You understand what I'm saying? So to his white audience, y'all probably don't know this, but this might surprise y'all about Brandon Tatum. Check it out.
I like it. You want to be hood, nigga? You want to be hood? Yeah. You on the phone talking shit to me, and you call me and saying you apologize? Yeah, nigga.
I never apologize.
You apologize?
I never
apologize. You didn't
apologize.
apologize. My wife listened to you, nigga.
I never apologized. What I said was, what I said was,
bitch, nigga.
That's what I said.
Come on.
Is that black on black crime?
You's a bitch. I told you. Everybody on your live stream know you's a bitch. And when I see you, I'm whooping your ass. Everybody got your live stream. I like it. You want to be hood, nigga?
Now, hold on now. I know you done probably scared half of your white audience. I know they terrified. They like, oh my God, Brandon. I didn't know you could talk like that. Brandon, you can't be doing that. Now, see, you get around them brothers and they pull it up out you. You know, next time, you see, now look at you. You're talking crazy, and you, out of all people, you should know. You can't be threatening people. You can't be telling people that you're going to cause them harm on the World Wide Web. Come on, now that's a lawbreaker. Now you's a taxpaying citizen, civilian, conservative, and right-wing, and all that old type of stuff. Now that's what they call black on black crime. Brandon, that's what they call black on black crime. Now, I got to be honest with you. I have never heard you speak like that to a person of European descent. I have never. But do y'all see what's going on? This brother, did y'all see him? You a bitch, you a bitch. I'm talking like, if that brother was in his presence, he would have grabbed that brother, choked him up, slammed him, beat on him, you know, dogged him out, spit on him, kicked him, probably called him in with the hard R on it. You understand what I'm saying? That's how mad he seemed at that brother. You see? So now look. No matter what this brother might say, or no matter what this brother right here might do, I believe that he is paid to demonstrate what he be demonstrating, as far as, you know, trying to talk down on the African American community. And the reason why I say that, because as much as Brandon Tatum point out our problems and stuff like that, and it has nothing to do with race, I never hear him speak about European problems. I never hear him talk about how, you know, European kids is running around killing their parents at an alarming rate, the DUI murders or manslaughters, or, you know, drunk driving, killing cases, you know, with, you know, European peoples, drug use, alcoholism, touching on kids, prostitution, you know. I never hear him talking about that type of stuff. I never hear him talk about, you know, the crimes amongst European peoples that they commit against each other at an alarming rate. I never hear him talk about that type of stuff. And being that he has a large white audience or European audience, you would believe and think in your mind that he would be feeding them what they need to hear. He would be talking about stuff, their problems, and helping them with their problems. But the reason why he has the audience that he has is because his audience is straight out racist. They don't care about what they do. No, they want somebody to point the finger at the so-called problem. They're not looking at themselves. Every crime that they do, all the stuff that they do, no, that ain't committed crime. No, hell no. You know, if a European person kills somebody, that ain't murder. He had a reason to do it. And he was staring me down too hard. He looked at me in the wrong way, and I feared for my life, and I killed him. Oh, hell yeah, shit, Bob. There you go. He shouldn't be looking at you like that. You see what I'm saying? But if it's a black person, you step on somebody's shoe and they get to fight, they knuckle draggers. You know, they uncivilized. You know, you can't even do nothing. Look at the community and all that. But he never points out none of their problems. Now, until Officer Brandon Tatum, until you start giving your white audience that same energy that you give to the brothers and sisters, I'm gonna have to call you a raccoon. This is Hood Educated, not Lame Related. Peace and love, and y'all take care of yourself out there. If I said anything that caused you to think, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And if you're feeling generous, please make a small donation to the channel. Peace and love.